Thompson had always been a thrill seeker. His weekends were spent exploring abandoned buildings, hiking through dense forests, and seeking out the most haunted places he could find. His latest adventure brought him to Ojai, California, a place known for its eerie tales and chilling legends. The most infamous of all was the story of Char Man, a horribly burned figure said to haunt the back roads and forests of the area. Jake arrived in Ojai on a hot summer afternoon. He had heard the stories of a man, charred beyond recognition, who attacked anyone who dared to venture into his territory. Locals warned him to stay away from Creek Road, especially at night. But Jake, ever the skeptic, dismissed their warnings as superstitious nonsense. As dusk fell, Jake set out for Creek Road, his camera and flashlight in hand. The air was thick with the scent of pine and smoke from distant wildfires. He drove until he found a secluded spot to park, then continued on foot into the forest. The path was narrow and overgrown, the trees casting long shadows in the fading light. Jake walked for what felt like hours, the forest growing darker and more oppressive with each step. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves. Suddenly, he caught a whiff of something acrid and burning. His heart raced as he recalled the stories of Char Man. He pushed on, determined to uncover the truth. He reached a small clearing and froze. There, in the center, was an old, rusted car, its windows shattered and its interior blackened by fire. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. He raised his camera, snapping photos, when he heard it, a low, guttural growl that made his blood run cold. Jake turned slowly, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Standing at the edge of the clearing was a figure, its skin blackened and cracked, eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The stench of burnt flesh filled the air as the figure took a step forward. Who are you?" Jake stammered, taking a step back. The figure growled again, louder this time, and lunged at him. Jake stumbled and fell, dropping his flashlight. The figure was upon him in an instant, its charred hands wrapping around his throat. Jake struggled, gasping for breath, his mind racing. He clawed at the ground, desperate for anything to defend himself. In a final, desperate move, Jake grabbed a jagged piece of metal from the wreckage and slashed at the figure's arm. It howled in pain, releasing its grip. Jake scrambled to his feet and ran, his lungs burning and his heart pounding. He didn't look back, the growls and screams of the creature echoing through the forest. He burst out of the woods and onto Creek Road, collapsing in exhaustion. His car was just a few yards away. He stumbled to his feet, threw open the door, and sped away, not stopping until he reached the safety of his hotel. Jake spent the night in a fitful sleep, haunted by nightmares of the charred figure. The next morning, he shared his story with the locals, who listened with a mix of fear and sympathy. They confirmed what he already knew. He had encountered Char Man and lived to tell the tale. Jake left Ojai that day. He never spoke of his encounter again, but the memory lingered, a permanent scar on his psyche. And every now and then, when the night was still and the air carried the faint scent of smoke, he would remember the glowing eyes and the charred hands, and the narrow escape from the clutches of Char Man. Back in Ojai, the legend lived on, growing with each retelling. The forest remained a place of fear, its shadows hiding the ghostly figure of Char Man, forever guarding his territory and waiting for his next victim.